So the colon wall will build up in mucoid plaque. It'll build up in overgrowth of bad bacteria and inflammation, undigested food. And when that builds up, that gives rise for then killing the good bacteria and the bad bacteria growing, and leads to this picture of dysbiosis. And if that's happening, if you've got dysbiosis, too much bad stuff, not enough good stuff, you will not be breaking down your hormones, and you will put on weight, you'll bloat, your skin will quite often break out and look congested as well. And so cleansing that colon minimum once a year, I'd say even a couple of times a year, especially if you're genetically predispositioned to these high estrogen pictures, you've got methylation defects, genetic mutations, you need to be doing that. Clear it out. It's like a reset for the gut. Then you put your probiotics in and you're good to go. But so many people, well-meaning people, they're wasting so much money going and self-prescribing probiotics, and they're taking these products all year round, but they're not doing the preparation for the gut. A probiotic is a living bacteria. So you got to be feeding it and you got to be looking after it. You've got to have an environment in your gut that is hospitable for that bacteria to actually thrive in. You've got to do that preparation process of the colon cleanse.
Today on Elevated Conversations, we're joined by beautiful Stacey from Balance Babes Australia, a naturopath, intuitive healer, and women's wellness guide on a mission to reconnect women with their natural rhythm, their inner wisdom, and their vibrant health. Stacey blends grounded naturopathic science with soulful spiritual insights, helping women move from burnout and imbalance to true embodiment and empowerment. In this episode, we dive deep into hormone healing, womb wisdom, and the power of menstrual cycle, and how to truly listen to the messages of the feminine body. Whether you're navigating fatigue, fertility, or just feeling disconnected from your body, this conversation will leave you feeling seen, supported, and inspired. Stacey, welcome to Elevated Conversations. It's so good to have you here and talk to you like a sister, all about naturopathic and body and health and well-being. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to have a chat with you.
So guys, Stacey is up the road on the Sunshine Coast, and she's a sister that actually supported me as one of the first points of contact when I started having an awakening, when I moved out from Pete down to Mooloolaba, because I have got triggered. I had no idea what was happening. And I remember I saw a post from you, Stacey, on Facebook saying, spiritual awakening. Are you having a spiritual awakening? And I was like, what's that? And I remember messaging you going, oh my God, something's wrong with me. And you're like, I think you're having a spiritual awakening. And I always
do you remember that conversation? Yeah, I do.
Do you remember that?
Well, that would have been 10 years ago.
Well, it was 5 years ago. I don't
5 years ago. No, it would have been more than 5 years ago.
Maybe
surely.
a little bit more, yeah.
Maybe more, yeah.
Wow. So you're my savior, and so it's really good to have you on the show and share your medicine with our community. So yeah. So let's talk about our hormones. Let's talk about for women. Let's dive into women hormones first for perimenopause. There you go. Yep. I know this is very important as I get older, and I wanted to learn about it from you as well. And a lot of people probably don't know too much about it. So what can you share with us about that?
Well, you know what? The thing that most people know is just doom and gloom. I think so many women just go, oh my God, perimenopause, my life's going to be over. And it doesn't have to be that way. And that's something that I really like to emphasize to everyone, because menopause can act, perimenopause, menopause, why can't it be the best time of your life? Like, it's a different time of your life. It's rapid change. And if you can't adjust to change, and if you're resisting and holding on to the past, it is going to be a complete shit show. But it doesn't have to be. And that's something, it's like, it's about adapting, right? It's about surrendering. It's about being willing to look at what your body's showing you. But yeah, I just want you to know it can be a really exciting time as well.
Okay, good. So I'm 40 next year, so I know that my hormones are important to balance. So what age does this often come to a female?
Well, no one wants to hear this, but what they're finding now is from age 35 onwards, our estrogen and specifically our progesterone is starting to gradually decline from about age 35 onwards. And that's normal. And the thing with that is it's how that can look for women is very, very widespread. So it can just look like you're feeling a little bit cranky before your periods for 5 years. Do you know what I mean? And we don't really know it's perimenopause. And the thing is, you can't really test for perimenopause. So many women might start to unconsciously feel changes and feels like something's wrong, and they go to the doctor and the doctor, everything's normal. And it is normal, but they'll say, no, you're fine, you're not in perimenopause, but you can't measure it. Like, really, you can't measure it. I mean, you can with specialized urine saliva hormones, but a GP can't tell you when you're in perimenopause.
Yeah, right. So is that like super cranky before your period and
So as our progesterone starts to decline, it can look like fluid retention. So women can start to put on weight.
Yep.
It can look like, yes, emotional highs and lows with our moods. And it can look like your cycle shortening. So going from that regular 28-day cycle to it just creeping in over the years. So commonly women will start getting their period every 21 days, every 20 days. That's a very perimenopause type thing. But also progesterone is a smooth muscle relaxant. So one of the main things that most women will experience but not realize it's perimenopause is bloating and constipation, because when that progesterone starts to drop, everything just tightens and constricts a little bit. So more muscle tension in general through the body, but also like your digestion can cram up a little bit. And so we just feel bloated all the time because you don't digest your food as effectively.
Okay, so for me, I get rushing through the body. Like at nighttime, I'll be laying there and I can feel this energy moving through quite more intense when I'm leading into a moon cycle.
Yeah.
So is that a sign of that
So,
enhancing? 'Cause I don't remember.
that's your nervous system activity, but it's probably also our emotions and our sensations are heightened in our premenstrual window, and they're meant to be, and that's why you're feeling that,
Okay.
and it's not a bad thing.
Mm.
Okay. And these emotional highs that or lows, whatever it looks like, where you feel crazy before your period. And so many women will come to me and they're like, I feel like such a bad mom. I'm constantly screaming at my children or my poor husband. I feel so guilty and I'm such a bad person. And it's like, we need to teach you how to express your emotions, but those emotions are valid. Like, you are not crazy. If what your husband's doing is, annoying you, it's valid. It's still annoying you. You're not crazy. Yes, you're more sensitive, but the pattern's still there. He's still doing the thing, and it's an opportunity for you to have a conversation with him, but also to reflect on yourself. What is it about the thing that he's doing? Like, let's use the old toilet seat as an example. Like, you can go all month and not care that the toilet seat's left up or something, or that in my case, Trent, when he doesn't hang the shower mat up after his shower, he's leaving 3/4 of the month, you just pick it up and put it up and don't care. But in that premenstrual window, it's like, oh my God, I've told you so many times. Why can't you just pick it up? Like, how hard is it? You feel yourself like, why did it not annoy me? But it did annoy me in that small window. And it's about the meaning of what him not picking up the shower mat means. It's what we make it mean. So for me, it can be like, well, I'm already busy. I've already got 1,000,001 things to do. Why do I have to pick up after another child? Do you not value my time? Do you not care about me? Which, of course, has nothing to do with that. It's just a man going about his business and not thinking about the shower mat. But it's what we internalize and what we make it mean. And that gives you information about your belief systems, about yourself and the world around you and your environment. And so it just gives you, right, so this is annoying you because I've made it mean you don't care about me. Is that really true? And this is where these beautiful connection tools and understanding your hormones, like journaling and sitting with cacao and breath work and all the things where we can go in and just really have a conversation with our higher self and our ego, two very different things, and find out what's really true. And also, just, what do I need? And it's like, it's not even about the shower mat. I just need to work a little less hard. I need to slow down and relax. Or I need a date night with my husband. Or maybe I just need him to give me a compliment. And if you can communicate what you need, 9 times out of 10, your husband will be so happy to do it, because men are providers and they love doing that, but they don't know what you need. But guess what? You don't know what you need half the time. So how are they supposed to know what you need? So your menstrual cycle is your superpower, because that's where you get all the information about what you need emotionally. Those imbalanced hormones, where your estrogen and progesterone that lead up to your period, where they are most imbalanced, means that you're going to feel emotions more intensely, which means your intuition's also going to be heightened, which means you can look within and find out the information about your environment and your world and your life and everything that's maybe out of alignment. And then you have an opportunity to bring it back into alignment through communication, through making changes, we've got to find that information. Whereas so many women go, well, I'm just crazy. I'm crazy, and I'll suppress that, and I'll eat the chocolate, or I'll drink the wine, and I'll just
Yeah.
go to bed for 3 days and hide from the world. Like, no, go to work exploring. What do you need? What do you want?
Yeah, totally. It's certainly like as soon as you finish ovulating and you're walking towards that moon cycle, it's like, oh no, what's going to come? And I definitely felt like the emotional, like facing the emotions and feeling things really, and having that space to sit with that did me wonders. You know,
Oh,
it's telling us a
absolutely.
lot about what's inside of us to be purged out in preparation for that bleed.
Yeah, you're hitting that on the head there. It's having the space to do that. And like, who's got space? Who's got time? We're all so busy running around after multiple children, working a job, also attending to our husband, attending to a household. Like, most women don't have the space. And then, or we don't choose to, we don't allow ourselves the space. And when you can start to go, marking on that calendar, all right, I'm going to be premenstrual then. I'm not going to say yes to that social engagement. Or even if you've had something booked in, if you have to cancel on the day or the day before, like, we've got to get better at doing that. We don't want to let people down. We don't want to, not show up. But it's like, actually, you're not going to be the best version of you when you're in that premenstrual phase where you actually just need to rest, but you're forcing yourself out. It's really about honoring what you need.
Mm. It's so beautiful to have these conversations because it's not very common for a female to desire say that they're number one, you know. And I think once we realize that we are number one, no one's saving us. We have to save ourselves,
Yeah.
and we have to set up those boundaries for ourselves like that. So
Boundaries is huge.
yeah, huge. So coming from a clinical perspective and vitamins, and because you consult in the naturopathic world, what can help people in this phase? What would your
In the
recommendation?
perimenopause phase. So, well, one, having self awareness and charting your cycle. It seems so simple, but if you're not already using an app to chart your cycle, like, download a free one right now, because you won't notice the little changes creeping up on you unless you start to chart them. And if you've been charting your cycle for 3 months, 6 months, and you bring that to a naturopath, I can go, oh, straight away, look at that, look at that. It's so obvious. And that can actually avoid you having to spend $300 on these specialized saliva hormone tests if we can just see so clearly what's going on, for one. But next thing, the most thing people want to go straight for, let's fix the progesterone, let's fix the estrogen. Your estrogen declining is normal. It's not a disease. Your progesterone declining, it's normal. There's nothing wrong with you. It's meant to happen. It becomes an issue when your body can't adapt and respond quickly because your vagus nerve tone is completely, underactive, like it's stressed. If we've had chronic stress and trauma and we've been living in a heightened nervous system state, our ability to adapt and integrate change goes out the window. So that's where we feel awful. That's when the hot flushes could come in and all that sort of stuff. But if you're just this natural, gentle decline, you don't have to experience any symptoms. You will only experience symptoms if there's something deeper below within your body that's not being addressed. And that's going to be to do with your liver health, your gut microbiome health, the state of your nervous system, and your adrenals. They're probably the top four big ones.
Okay.
So women who get smashed through perimenopause usually have those four things out of balance big time.
So something you're checking for probably first is the gut health because that's like the second brain in people's body, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So not everyone realizes this, but the bacteria in your gut, as in the good, healthy bacteria, plays a primary role in breaking down and clearing out hormones. And a hormone is only beneficial when it's released from the gland, it travels through the bloodstream, attaches to its receptor site. So let's look at estrogen, for example. We have estrogen receptor sites in our brain, in our breasts, in our vagina, in our uterus, ovaries. So we release the estrogen, it travels around, it attaches where it needs to, does its job for a couple of days, max, a couple of hours sometimes, detaches from that receptor, goes back into the bloodstream, and your liver and your gut microbiome must break it down and clear it out. And
Right.
that is what's impaired in 90% of women. So we get this picture of estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance just keeps building up, building up, building up, and that causes headaches, weight gain, irrational mood swings,
Mm.
painful periods, heavy periods, endometriosis, PCOS, all those like really things of growth of estrogen, because estrogen is prolific. It stimulates growth and weight. So if you're not clearing out your hormones, you've got more of an issue than if you're not producing enough.
So that's the weight gain then. So if we're not
Yeah.
cleaning
Yeah.
out this hormone and cleansing, like we're doing a colon cleanse,
Colon cleanse. Yep.
eating healthy and cleaning that gut and the liver,
Yep.
we are attaching and we're gaining weight. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the main things
Big
that
one.
people find is they get
Yep.
bloated. And
Yep.
one topic we didn't touch on is the older ladies moving through this phase of letting go of their periods and their moon cycles. Do you have any advice for those ladies that might be listening?
Just surrender. Surrender. Forget everything you ever thought you ever knew about anything, and be prepared to completely change your life in terms of if you're someone that is stuck to rigid routines and you're so stuck in your way of doing everything this certain way, you're going to be rocked. Your cycle, like I said, your hormones are changing. You're probably going to need to exercise a different way. You're going to need to eat a different way. You're going to look different in the mirror. Your body shape's going to change, and it's all good. It's all good unless you are clinging so tightly onto resisting the change.
Mm.
It's about making peace with the change, loving yourself through it. Doesn't I'm not saying, when I say your body's going to change, you have to surrender and go, I'm going to put on 20 kilos and that's just accepted. That's not what I'm saying at all. But things are just, as we age, things change. And if you can love yourself unconditionally anyway, you will feel more beautiful, more radiant anyway. This, like I said, we can still have beautiful skin and a nice body that's in shape, but things will just be different and it'll feel different. But yeah, just everything changes. Your whole life has to change.
A lot of women complain about the sexual pleasure, right? And
Mm,
that intimacy and, that hurting and being sore
yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
So
We can fix that. That's the
we
easiest
can
thing.
fix that. I
That's
love
easy. So
that.
what happens? The vaginal wall becomes thinner because of the reduction of estrogen. So that can create tiny little micro tears, which is why sex can be painful. We get it dries up a little bit. So it just the whole thing can, but there's pessaries that I make for my clients based on cacao butter and things like sea buckthorn and stuff like that. That's an easy fix. And then there's herbs like shatavari and all things that we can do just to naturally support your estrogen. So that's an easy fix, really, in the scheme of things. The things that are hard to fix are, for example, if you're clinging into a job that you hate and you've hated forever, it's going to be in your face where you can no longer ignore it. If you're in a relationship that's so toxic for you and you know it, but you're choosing to stay anyway, it's going to be tumultuous. If you're hanging out with friends that just aren't even right, like the relationships will break up, so like that, but only if it's meant to. Like nothing that's not broken is going to break. It's only but it's going to be what you've unconsciously known. There'll be this light shine on all the things that you've been ignoring and avoiding in your life. And that's bloody confronting. But if you understand and can see and process the emotion and are willing to just surrender, you can cruise through it all quickly. It doesn't have to be hell. It can be, because on the other side of any changes that you make is alignment. It's you living in alignment with your highest values and what's actually truth for you. And that's a 10 times happier reality than what you were kind of cruising through anyway.
Mm. Yeah, and our body wants to heal. It wants to get into alignment. So it's just us getting
Totally.
out of the way and surrendering to what is and not trying
Exactly.
to control everything.
Yeah.
I
And
did hear,
staying in our comfort zone, right?
yeah, I heard something the other day about it takes Sirius A, the planet, and Sirius B, 50 years to get around Sirius A.
Yeah. Wow.
One cycle. And the reflection into humanity is that by the age of 50, we should be completed the cycle of cleaning our emotions. And so a lot of people are only just getting started, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to reflect upon within the planets to learn these ancient teachings because when we're younger, the moon cycle, coming into a moon cycle, there's a big opportunity to purge out so many layers if we chose
Yep.
to and were taught to. I just found that very interesting.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And that's the thing. Like, don't wait for perimenopause to sneak up on you and bite you in the butt. Like, there's so many things you can put in place to ensure that your journey is smooth. You don't have to be sick or unwell to come work with me in boot camp. Like I said,
No.
it's just about deepening your health and your relationship with you. You'll still get so much more out of going through those cleansing processes and yeah, just connecting with yourself,
Mm.
understanding your hormones.
Mm. I love it. You've got answers for everything, Stacey. There's a natural remedy, ladies and gentlemen, for everything, including
Absolutely.
pleasure and sex.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what are some ways that people can clean it out?
So I've developed a colon cleanse process. It's a 3-day process, and does involve juice fasting, which isn't for everyone. So we have a slow, steady version, which is you can do over 3 weeks gradually if you don't want to do the juice fast. But essentially, the idea of that is we're going through and we're cleansing the colon. So the colon wall will build up in mucoid plaque. It'll build up in overgrowth of bad bacteria, and inflammation, undigested food. And when that builds up, that gives rise for then killing the good bacteria and the bad bacteria growing, and leads to this picture of dysbiosis. And that, if that's happening, if you've got dysbiosis, too much bad stuff, not enough good stuff, you will not be breaking down your hormones, and you will put on weight, you'll bloat, your skin will quite often break out and look congested as well. And so cleansing that colon minimum once a year, I'd say even a couple of times a year, especially if you're genetically predispositioned to these high estrogen pictures, if you've got methylation defects, COMT genetic mutations, you need to be doing that. Like I personally do it about 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And if I just go in and do that process, clear it out, it's like a reset for the gut. Then you put your probiotics in and you're good to go. But so many people, well-meaning people, they're wasting so much money going and self-prescribing probiotics. And probiotics are expensive, and they're taking these products all year round, but they're not doing the preparation for the gut. A probiotic is a living bacteria, so you've got to be feeding it, and you've got to be looking after it. You've got to have an environment in your gut that is hospitable for that bacteria to actually thrive in. And most people's isn't, but they keep spending all this money taking all these probiotics by mouth, is completely wasting their money because it's not surviving once it's in their stomach. You've got to do that preparation process of the colon cleanse.
Yeah. And so we do colon cleanse because we're plant medicine advocates, and in preparation for a journey, we often
Yeah.
do that a couple of times a year. And so you've got a beautiful powder product that people will drink. Because look,
Yep.
I have never done a juice fast for
Yep.
3 days. I can
Yep.
do water fasting for 24 to 48 hours, but I can't get past that. I don't know if it's a mind thing, and I'm
Well,
sure one
it
day
could
I
be
could.
slightly a mind thing, but juice fasting can be difficult for some people. Some people just naturally have what's called a low HbA1c reading in their blood. It's a pre-diabetic marker, some of you may have heard of, but it's a measurement of the average amount of hemoglobin that your body has in its blood at any one time. And hemoglobin has two purposes. One, transporting oxygen around the body, but two, also transporting glucose around the body. So
Mm,
if yours is natural in the lower side, you're
mm,
more prone to low blood sugar levels. So
mhm,
fasting's hard,
mm.
and there's no point forcing. Like it's not a one size fits all. Some people thrive with it and feel amazing. Some people feel terrible, and so you don't need to force yourself to do it. Like I said, I've developed a 3 week process as well, and it can be done in 2 week process as well. It's a slow and steady. You take the colon cleanse powder, and you just kind of eat a cleanish diet, and you get the same effect as to if you were juice fasting for 3 days. I am vain, so I love that I lose a couple of kilos when I do the 3 day juice fast as well. If I like, oh yeah, it's time. So I push through that, and I feel really great for it. I whinge the whole 3 days, like I'm hungry
Yeah.
the whole time, and I just lay around and sit in my sauna and get massages. And I've got some people who like love the juice fast process even more than me, and probably complain less than me. But I just know how good I feel at the end of it, so that's my motivation to do it at least those 3 times a year. But you will get just as good results by doing the slow and steady process as well.
Mm,
So, trust your intuition. Your body knows whether you can or can't. Yeah.
totally.
And it's
Yeah,
not a fail if you can't.
we call the colon cleanse poo juice. We just
Yeah.
have adapted to that because we're just funny and silly. But and so I always say to people, if you've never cleaned out your rubbish bin your whole life, what do you think your rubbish bin in the kitchen would look like? It wouldn't look
Oh,
very good.
yeah.
So when we're doing a colon cleanse, we're moving that energy through the small and large intestines and down in through the colon.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen the difference in someone's appearance once they've done a 2 week
Oh,
colon cleanse with
100%.
the powder.
I mean, yeah, the colon has a permeable membrane, which means any junk that's stuck in it. And when I say junk, I'm talking about this buildup of mucoid plaque and undigested fecal matter and undigested food. It is spewing out into your bloodstream all day, every day. Okay, so the colon wall is permeable, which means anything in there can move in and out. Okay, so that toxic load is moving into your bloodstream, which your poor liver then has to constantly filter. And I always say, think of your colon like a fish tank that's dirty. If you're going to clean that fish tank, you don't just tip the water out and pour more new water in. You got to scrub the sides of the fish tank as well. Otherwise, that junk is going to keep lining that colon, which is going to be destroying the healthy bacteria. It's going to be poisoning, polluting your whole body. It's going to make you feel sluggish. It's going to cause brain fog. It's going to there's so many things that it affects. Your metabolism is going to be slowed down as a result of it.
Mm. And I know that you do the coffee enemas, and that's where up the bum and the colon.
I know it's a bit weird.
A lot of people, aren't into that kind of therapy, and that's okay. And that's
Totally
like the
weird, yeah.
powder in water and drinking it. It tastes like absolute poo juice, just so
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
I've adapted my form so that it's not too bad at all. I'm getting lots of good feedback, but it's typically think of it, you're drinking dirty, muddy water, essentially.
yeah. So then we move to the liver, and then once the liver, because you said the three areas of the cleansing is the gut, the colon, and then the liver. So
Liver, yeah.
what are some things about the liver that we need to know to detox from that? Obviously, someone's not doing this all at once. It's a gradual process. So
Yeah, it's a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
The liver, like I said, it filters everything in the body. It's filtering the blood, and everything ends up in the blood. So your liver, things that can make your liver be sluggish is pathogen load in your body. So viruses, like I've seen so many times, like where people might get a normal virus or good old COVID or something like that. And then after that, their liver is just really stressed out. And some people can get enough viruses that their liver never fully recovers to optimal performance. Okay, so there's pathogens like viruses, parasites stress out the liver big time. Obviously, our lifestyle, if we're drinking too much alcohol, eating too much processed food, eating non-organic meats, all the things that are hard on the liver, even anger, unprocessed emotion. If you've got a lot of suppressed emotion, in particular anger, like that stresses out the liver function. There's so many other things that'll stress the liver function. Vaccines, medications. This is things that your liver has to process and break down every single thing that ends up in your body. And it's not just what we're eating; it's what we're injecting, it's what we're inhaling and breathing in as well. It just filters everything, and it's you would think of it this way: if you've gone and spent money on a fancy filter for your house, you still got to change the filter, right? Like it fills up, and you got to go and buy a new filter. It's the same with your liver. You've got to clean the filter in your liver as well. Just like you've got to clean the fish tank size of your colon, you've got to cleanse your liver because it builds up in toxins. And so that is why I love the coffee enemas. But there are other ways to cleanse the liver if you don't fancy sticking something up your butt. Yeah, just take herbs and be on a cleansing diet for a little period.
Yeah, so you're doing it via herbs. I've heard, is it artichoke could be very cleansing for the liver?
Artichoke's beautiful for the liver and the gallbladder as well. So it really flushes out that gallbladder if you're getting a buildup of stones and stuff like that. So Mary's thistle, dandelion, globe artichoke, schizandra, rosemary, and greater celandine. They're the top 5 liver detox herbs that I have in my specific liquid formula that I use. It does come in capsule formula as well. But there's no point. You can't go straight for the liver if you haven't cleansed the colon first, because otherwise the crap in the colon is just going to keep repolluting the blood. So start with the colon and then the liver, and then you finish by just then supporting the gut.
Okay. So not the gut first, not an ultraflora through the gut and then colon, or does it matter?
You can take ultraflora first, but you're naturally going to be cleansing the gut when you're cleansing the colon. To a degree.
Yeah.
But this is where another degree, a lot of the times when you do a colon cleanse or whatever, you might throw in your anti-parasitic protocol as well. So I think everyone should do a parasite cleanse every 2 years. This is just the amount of bacteria and pathogens that we're exposed to in our environment. So you do the colon cleanse, and then at the same time for 30 days following your colon cleanse, you might take 30 days of anti-parasitic herbs and liver detox herbs. And so then you're going to throw in your probiotics at the same time, which is not cleansing the gut, but it's adding back in the good bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
The powder that you're taking to cleanse the colon is also going to cleanse the gut because it's got anti-inflammatory things in it as well. So it's kind of all overlaps a little bit.
So people might ask, why would you do all of this? And it's like, well, it's for clarity. That foggy mind definitely clears up and you feel lighter, brighter, more energy.
more energy, clarity, but for your hormone balance.
Yeah.
Like if you're not resetting your system, your hormones will be out of balance, and the amount of and that's not like, I know it probably sounds overwhelming, but that process that I've just mapped out, really, it's done in 30 days, 33 days. Like, it's really not that hard. And that alone can completely eliminate period pain and painful heavy periods and regulate the cycle and PMS. That's how much of an impact your gut microbiome and your liver has on your hormones.
Wow.
So many people will go and self-prescribe, I've got period pain, I'll just take anti-inflammatories. You're missing the root cause of what's causing the period pain. It's this buildup of toxins. It's the buildup of estrogen metabolites and environmental estrogens and xenoestrogens and all that sort of stuff as well.
And I really find that when you do these cleanses, the knowings about emotional health and well-being also comes, you feel a lot more balance with your emotions, because as we're letting go in the colon, because everyone's holding on, right? They're tight and holding on and like to control everything.
Dysregulated nervous system.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go into the nervous system. What are some things that you help people with obviously your emotional regulation, but from a naturopathic kind of sense to regulate nervous system? Because it is the biggest thing. I mean, that vagus nerve and whatever programs are in the brain and subconscious mind are really triggering, and you can't get around it. The energy on the planet is really activating everyone's
stuff that's not yours as well, right? Yeah. Well, so there's two aspects of it that you just touched on. So yes, I could prescribe you the most beautiful herbal tonic of things like your ashwagandha and your passion flower and your rhodiola, and there's beautiful nervous system relaxants. But the problem is, most of our nervous system being in this fight and flight go, it's based on your programs, your unconscious beliefs, your unconscious view of the world. So some people are walking around uptight and anxious, and they don't even know why. It's because trauma in our life. It's because of, past life. It's because of, but even just our belief systems. Like, you might have a belief and you're not even aware of it, that let's pick on men. All men are bastards. So many women are walking around with that belief, and they're married, but they actually believe this about men. And so, they might see a TV movie, see, men are jerks. Or they might see a guy drive past them a bit too fast, see, all men are jerks. And they're getting constantly validated because that's the lens they're seeing the world through.
Yeah.
And so this program's just being like cemented in on hardwire, and then they're like, men, men. And so their nervous system's like this. And they're not even consciously aware they're doing this. But so you can see this nervous system's just stressed all the time, because guess what? There's a lot of men in the world. They're seeing a lot of men, and they're only going to see men behaving badly because that's the lens that they see the world through. So until you start to believe that the world's full of beautiful men, then you start to see the beautiful men and all the beautiful things that men do. And so our belief systems control everything. So to work on your nervous system and ongoing, regulate your nervous system, you've got to be doing deep emotional work. Yeah. And so a modality that I do a lot of work with is Psych K. I love it. It's brilliant. And it's essentially a practice of just basically realigning the left and right hemispheres of the brain to take stresses out. And then you're basically uploading new belief systems. But then the work that I do with my clients as well is really this process of emotional evolution. And it's about self-awareness, okay? Actually identifying your beliefs by looking at your triggers, looking at the things that are pissing you off. And what's the best time of the month to identify those? Our premenstrual window. It shows you everywhere where everything that pisses you off, it's only pissing you off because you're a vibrational match to it, or you have a wound associated with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's showing you the inner work that needs to be done. And that's why I love our treatment. It's a mirror. Yes, perfect. So your premenstrual window, as uncomfortable as it can be, it gives you so much clues of your healing journey. And if you're willing to do the work each month, I journal regularly, I make lists of the things that are annoying me. I'm like, cool, I get to work on that. Like, it's a privilege to be able to change a pattern. If you've got goals in this life, whether they're health goals or financial goals or relationship goals, you're not going to get them. Most of us can't see what we can't see. We can't see our patterns and our programs because it's all happening in our unconscious mind. It's like these little weeds growing in the background that until there's a light shined on it through a trigger, you can't go and do the work to pluck it out. So when we trigger, it's actually one of the best things that could happen to you. If you have the humility and self-awareness enough to see it as a gift and not project and blame it on everyone else, and actually do the work to explore it.
And that's one thing Pete and I learned early in the piece. It's not them, it's you.
It's a
And
co-creation, and
yeah,
it's like, okay, you're annoying me because of this. I need you to do this, and it's back and forth as a team, because
yeah.
no problem is any one person in the relationship's problem. It is a relationship problem, and when you can start seeing it as a team effort, you'll be
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so once we do a colon cleanse and this detox, it's almost like the lower energy centers are releasing energy for us to start to, remove that heavy concrete as it starts to come up. And
Yeah,
our body
absolutely.
consciousness is actually feeding the brain to trigger those subconscious beliefs. Because a lot of the energy, 90% of our energy is coming from the body, where the energy has been stuck from the environment in our childhood, the root causal emotion or past
Absolutely.
lives, depending on how deep you want to go.
Yep.
But so then it's like coming up. And so when we're doing this cleanse, we're taking a layer off to see
Yep.
underneath these beautiful emotions and to become a better version of ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. You want to be a clear channel,
yeah,
if you want to be able to connect, I mean, consciousness, it's universal. So if your channel is overloaded with toxins, it's like the lights off. There's no one
yeah.
home. We can't be connecting with other things, whether it be plants or plant medicines or other humans or ETs or whatever it is. You can't, you're not part, you just, you turn on you. There's a,
Stuck
no
on
one
the
here.
ABC, radio station. You're not going to Triple J or where whatever channel you like.
100%. It's a frequency, right? And we can tune into whatever we want. But if you've got high heavy metals in your body, high toxicity, congestion, that the signal's just blocked.
Yeah, yeah. So I know some of the, there are a lot of issues getting around with people. So what are the biggest and largest problems that you're seeing through your clinic at the moment with individuals? Is it just the heavy metals or is it
Oh, parasites is a big one.
parasites? Yep.
And it's not even specifically parasites, even pathogenic bacteria. So I do
Okay.
a lot of work with autoimmune conditions
Okay.
now, especially. And most people who have an autoimmune condition, and there's something like over 200 different autoimmune conditions, and
Wow.
women are like 5 times more likely to get an autoimmune condition than men,
Wow.
because there's a hormonal link. But it's a gut health issue, big time. So most people have got these infections in their gut that are creating inflammatory pathways that are dysregulating the immune system, and then we're leading with this autoimmune condition, whether it be, you know, MS. I'm working with a lot of MS at the moment, and
Wow.
then also just things like even rosacea or chronic eczema, like they're autoimmune conditions as well, right through to rheumatoid arthritis. There's a lot of that going on.
Mm.
There's heaps. There's literally hundreds of autoimmune conditions, but they're so common, like so common now.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's all back to the gut, this second brain, once again.
Back
It's
to
like
gut,
clean the gut and then we can start really digging deeper on our spiritual journey. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So you mentioned something earlier about frequency, vibration, and attuning the body function. Do you want to go into that?
Well, it's just about connection with your intuition. That's the way I really see it. You are your own healer. Your body is giving you subliminal messages all day, every day about what it needs. But most of us are in too much of a rush to stop and slow down and connect with the body. And so sacred ritual is something that I'm a big believer in. I get all my clients to do. And your sacred ritual may be as simple as you sitting and drinking your coffee outside with bare feet on the grass in complete silence. Like, it doesn't have to be hours upon hours of this ritual, but it's 5 minutes of just no sound, no music, or maybe you're listening to a guided meditation, but you're sitting there and you're just having a little chat with yourself. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, what am I feeling today? Like, what's my intention for the day? How do I want to feel? How do I want today to go? Like, we have so much more power over the course of our day and what situations that we create for ourselves than what we actually give ourselves credit for. But most of us are starting the day running straight for the boiling the kettle, jumping in the shower, shoving a piece of toast in it, out the door, running around after kids, and we haven't even stopped and connected for not even 30 seconds.
Mm.
And that's dangerous in the long term, because you're missing that relationship with yourself, which is also indirectly a relationship with the universe and these frequencies.
And
So
so many
that's
people do that. Like for 30 years until my awakening, that was my role as a mother. And
totally.
even Pete, his behavior was, it's all about the kids. And,
Totally.
getting up, going and starting that business or that work and
Getting things done and achieving and doing.
yeah. And so now I'm in my Ugg boots because it's winter and I'm in my big jumper and I go outside and I sit and it's a game changer. I've chosen me first.
Yeah,
So I'm the vibration walking forward into the
totally.
day. And
Yeah,
often, I feel like a lot of people are having so many dreams and processes in that sleep state. You need time to you need to give space to that,
yeah.
those knowings, because that's energy coming up to be processed. And if you
It's not.
don't process it, you're wearing it around in a backpack all day, getting even more triggered by everyone else because of this distortion sitting in our system.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Like we live in just such a fast paced life, and and technology has allowed us to do more, but it's not helping us. We're more disconnected than ever before because we're doing more and achieving more. But is it, for what? And this is where it comes back to really connecting with what are your values? What are your priorities? Where's health on the list of connection of levels of priorities for you? Where's connection on the level of priorities for you? And until they become a priority, you will just be walking around like a zombie. Like you're not connected. You're just allowing life to unfold to you. You're not actually in the driver's seat of your life. You're not consciously creating.
Mm. So, for the males that might be watching this, I know that you're all about the balance babes and you've got a great program and stuff
Yep.
like that, but you've still got Trent in your house and you're learning a lot
Yeah.
about male and
Yep.
so what are some big things, I guess negative health issues within the body and organs for men that you're seeing?
That's an interesting one. I still work with men in the clinic as well, very much as well. I think a lot of men's stuff is undoing the programming around having to be brave, having to be tough, not looking at their health, not sharing, not opening up, doing things all on their own, carrying the burden, and we've seen it, we see it all the time, especially men when they go through divorce and it breaks them, they do it all on their own, and then they end up with drinking too much or whatever these things as their coping mechanism because they don't have that outlet to sit and talk about the stress they're going through. And it's not that they don't necessarily want to, they just don't even know how to either.
Mm.
And so I think that's a big issue. That's not an area of work that there's so many emerging men's coaching programs out there that are opening up for that, that brotherhood, that being able to talk and stuff like that, because yeah, it's a big one. But yeah, common health things. Oh, so it's funny because I'm doing a lot of autoimmune work. So all the men I'm working with at the moment have got autoimmune problems. So again, just the work on the gut, it's the same thing. I mean, men are very different to women. They work on a 24-hour hormone cycle, whereas when we have our 28-day cycle. So things are different, but
So
I
what's
think
a
it's
male
just
cycle? Are they just a day cycle? Is that what they're kind of working on? A male?
a 24-hour day cycle. So their testosterone peaks of a morning.
Oh
So it's
yes.
high, and then over the course of the day, it just slowly gets lower and lower, and then it peaks. It's always highest in the mornings.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So get
So
into the gym early, get
men are
active
less
early for
likely.
men.
Yes, and men are less likely to um, be as active in the evenings. They're not like they sort of that they do better off that early morning, early to bed type thing, really based on the testosterone.
Yeah, right. So as we're all elevating and your intuition is growing and your vibration is growing, how are you implementing intuition versus what a system or a blood result gives? Are you still balancing the both of those? And do you
Yeah,
find
well,
that
absolutely. And so, I mean, I use my intuition while I'm working with people, but a big part of what the work I do with women is encouraging them to connect with their own intuition. I'm here to guide you and hold your hand, but you're your own healer. You know more about if you're connected to your intuition, you know more about what's the right foods for you or what you should be eating than what I can give you advice over professionally. And so, as part of my programs when I work with women, we do weekly intuition calls where it's about guided meditation, breath work. It's just carving out that space where we just stop, to slow down, and just to connect and to listen. And they're the women that they absolutely smash the journey because they have this newfound sense of awareness, and that has a role and effect in their relationship with their partners, with their children, with how they eat, with how they look, because they're starting to live following this internal inner guidance versus giving their power away to everyone else. What do I take? Fix me. What do I do? Like you got to take back the power yourself. So that's a big part of the work I do with women in my programs. It's not just about me telling you what to eat and what herbs to take. It's building your intuition.
Yeah, and our womb is the biggest intuition. So I think if your hormones are balanced, your centers and your organs are all cleansed, that intuition really is firing up, especially today. Like the energy, there's no veil anymore.
Yes.
There's no illusions. The illusions are falling. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
experiencing that. You're just seeing false when there's false. When someone's not in truth, they're not in truth. You know what's going
Yeah.
on.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely becoming more and more separated. It's more obvious.
Yeah, so much more obvious.
Yeah.
So, Stacey, you've got a lot of programs, and I know some of our listeners are coming from overseas, and you do online consultants and send them the
Yeah.
herbs and spices that you
Yeah, absolutely.
recommend.
Yeah. Good old mailman. Yeah.
What programs do you have
Yeah,
coming
so,
up?
so there's a few different things. So boot camp is, I guess, my signature program, and it's a 6-month journey because we go through all the steps to bring your body back into balance. The nervous system regulation module, the adrenal recovery module, the thyroid support module, the gut healing module, the colon cleansing, the parasite cleanse. Like it goes through it all in a 6-month journey, bit by bit. And then that includes those group calls where, like I said, we're doing that guided meditation. I'm teaching you to connect with your thing. So that's sort of my favorite program. We get so much results in 6 months, and it's, you get lifetime access. So women are working at their own pace, yeah. But it's, it's a step by step. Tick it off, move on to the next. Tick it off, move on to the next, and it really ensures that you address all the potential causes of what's going to be causing the autoimmune, the hormonal imbalance, the weight. Just all the typical hormonal things that women get. They're the women I work with. But I also have online courses that are just, DIY sort of things on this emotional evolution process, for example, teaching women how to process emotions safely and understand what their emotion is showing them, especially through those premenstrual windows. And this is also like, it's all well and good when you're, a menstruating woman and you've got that 2 to 3 days where you've got that premenstrual window. But as you get into perimenopause and those periods are they're changing, or especially post-menopause, think about you're in your premenstrual window the whole time when you don't have a cycle. All unprocessed emotion comes up through perimenopause. So all this shit you haven't dealt with your whole life, that's going to come up through perimenopause. And that's why it can feel like an emotional roller coaster for some women. And so the sooner you start doing work on understanding how to process emotion, understanding what the emotion wants you to know, again, you can cruise through it. You get the trigger and go, journal that out, think about that, have the conversation. What do I need? And you can be through a trigger in an hour, rather than losing a whole day of not wanting to talk to people and hide and project and blame and call people names and say things you don't really mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Balance Babes, is it, babe? What's the website?
So my website is balancebabes.com.au, but I also have another website, thebalanceacademy.com.au, and that's where you can see my courses and my programs on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been so nice to hear your advice and to connect again. We haven't connected. I think we had you on the podcast like at the very beginning of our YouTube journey.
Yeah, wow.
In the house. I think we're in person. Yep.
Remember? Yeah.
And I'm sure this one's going to get a lot of traction. And so, yeah, thanks so much for your service, what you're doing.